Hey everybody, my name's Sarah and I'm super excited to be with you here today to talk to you about what is your superpower and how can you use it. So I'm a coach and I've been in industry for a while, but I really am passionate about creating a better place for future generations. So that means coming out and talking to people like you, coming out and hopefully inspiring you to challenge what you can do and how you see the world. So you should have received a short note pack so you can start taking some notes as we go through. But today's session is really about inspiring you to see things differently and inspiring you to think, how can I have my own impact? What impact do I want to have in this world? Because you guys are the ones that can change this. You guys are the ones that can really have a voice here. So yeah, let's get going. So for today's session, I'm just going to design the alliance bit, which means just understand what it is. So this is a supportive forum where you can ask questions. So please do ask questions in the chat, and these will be fed through to me so that I can answer them for you. There are no silly questions. We're not at school here. So please do ask your questions. Even if it might sound silly to you, there might be somebody here who is actually thinking exactly the same thing. They need somebody else to bring it out for them. So take courage, ask questions. And the last part is, what is your intention for this session? Why did you choose to kind of sit in and listen to this? What was it that made you think, oh, this might be fun, this might be interesting? So just write a quick note. What's your intention for listening to this session? So this session's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. We don't have lots of time, and hopefully it will still provide you with some ideas of things to do, some ideas of ways to go and think about maybe yourself differently, see situations differently, and get involved, get inspired. So we're going to be looking at 3 distinct elements of who you are, things that, maybe don't come out every day in the classroom. Personal values. So what is important to you? Not what's important to your parents, not what's important to your teachers, what's important to you as a person. What are you good at? So personal strengths. What are the things that are easy for you, that you have fun doing? And also, what is your life story? So what are the things about what your experience of life to date has given you, which are maybe different to other people and can be used to help you develop who you really are? So we're going to start with personal values. Now I've drawn, or I've put a picture here of a tree with the roots uncovered. There's a real reason for doing that. The values, the things you think are really important, are like the roots. They sit under the ground. We don't talk about them openly very often, and yet they're so important. Like the roots, they nourish us. They give us strength. They hold us tight when the winds are blowing. And, like this quote says, it's not hard to make a decision when you know what your values are. But what does that mean? Well, when you can identify what is important to you, you can make decisions more easily in life. And as you grow older, this gets really important. It can actually help create the life that you want to live, the impact that you want to have in the world. So what is it for you? I know it sounds a little bit abstract, a little bit weird at the second, but think of it like the questions on your sheet. What is it that's important to me? What activities do I maybe enjoy doing? Just make a few notes. What do I feel, when do I feel happy or perhaps relaxed? What is it that I'm doing? Or what's happening around me? When do I feel uncomfortable? So the flip side of values, of things that are important to you, is actually when they're not happening, when they're not fulfilled, then you sometimes feel uncomfortable. So for me, treating people with respect, treating people fairly is important. So when I see somebody talking badly to somebody, or even sometimes when my kids are fighting, I feel really uncomfortable. This is something that's important to me. For me, I'm also really driven by sustainability, by helping other people. And I'm really interested in technology. I think probably we've got all the technology around us we need in actually to be able to create the impact and make the changes we want to in the world. It's now about enabling people to have courageous discussions, which is why I do stuff like this. It's really important to me that we enable people to be able to kind of take off their cloaks of invisibility and say what's important, what they think and what they feel. Stand up proud and say, this is what I think. I think in doing that and then being able to be listened to and being listened to other people is what's important here. So creating that environment. So that's what's important to me. Now, when you think about values, there are hundreds, probably thousands of words that you can use. And the word is not important. It's how it feels in your body. So I'm going to put up a few words right now. And I just ask you to jot down the ones that you think, oh, that sounds interesting. Or any that just don't really feel right, just ignore them. Okay? So, what I've got here is honesty, curiosity, fun, achievement, creativity, respect, courage, learning, adventure, calm, friendship, trust, music. The list could go on and on and on. But just looking at that list, is there anything that kind of jumps out at you? Anything that you would find important? And then just write them down. What I have identified as being important to me is. And then this is something you can go and deepen with your friends and with your family. Maybe play a bit of a game around it. These are the kind of discussions that really open up what's meaningful, what's fun. I'd love to hear what happens if you sit around the dinner table in the evening and start discussing even what the meaning of these words is. Take one of them. For example, trust. What I think of or what I identify behind the word trust is that I can go into a situation and feel comfortable to be vulnerable and to share. You might think of it as something different, and that is fine. Understand what it means to you. So try and identify maybe 2 or 3 things which are important to you from this list. Just start playing with that over the coming few days or even the week. What does that look like? Where does that show up in my life? So I'm just going to pop to the chat because I've seen some things coming in here. I enjoy spending time with my pets. Great. I enjoy hanging out with my friends and family. Perfect. Yeah, great. Good feedback. Yes, these are all things that are important to us. And you'll see that over time, these things will change. So what are some simple things I can do to get more confidence? We'll come back to that at the end. If I don't, can someone just remind me, please? Okay, strengths. What are you good at? What is it which you can do that nobody else can do? And this doesn't have to be being good at maths. This can be, I'm the one that all my friends turn to when they need someone to talk to. Or I'm the one that always brings a smile to somebody else's face. So what the wording I put here, or the quote is, success is achieved by development of our strengths, not by eliminating our weaknesses. So there are certain things that we need to learn as we grow up, and there are things we choose to learn. So let's take the example of a famous pianist or a footballer. They're very clear. They found a strength or something that they're good at, and they have invested time and effort in making that into something that becomes like a superpower. It's what people know them for. It's what people adore them for. And that's not to say they're good at everything. Maybe they're not good at, accounting. Maybe they're self-employed, just no good at getting their accounts right. Or maybe they struggle in relationships. But you see that these people who we know of, who are visible in society, are generally really good at one thing. And they put their efforts into making that thing stronger. They train it. They put emphasis on this certain skill. So what is it you are good at? Now, I'm just going to now go into a picture, just for a bit of fun. So as I put this picture up, what is it that springs to your mind? What's one word? Maybe fierce, maybe courage, maybe beauty. It's not, well, that's a silly animal, it can't fly. Of course it can't, it's a lion. And yet, so often, that's what we expect ourselves to do. We expect ourselves to be good at everything. Now, the animal kingdom is very good at developing strengths. So over time, the strongest breed, the strongest survive. And yet we're not like that. We're humans. We can be good at such a rainbow of things. We're each unique. So what does that mean to you? Just a couple of examples of questions to help you try and identify this. What are the things you're doing when you feel really alive? When you get excited and your fingers and your toes tingle? What is it you're doing? And also, the other way is you're sitting here going, well, I really don't know what it is. What perhaps have other people said that you're good at? What do other people say as to what they appreciate about you? Maybe this is a fun thing to go and ask. Go and ask your family, your parents, your siblings, your grandparents even, and your friends. What is it you appreciate about me? Now, this can feel a little uncomfortable. We're not very good at going out and asking for people to tell us what they like about us generally. And it can be really good fun. You can go to somebody and say, I always appreciate that you're a great listener. Watch how that person reacts when you give them appreciation. When you tell them what it is that you appreciate about them. And then ask them for the same back. So what is it you appreciate about me? Now see what kind of conversations that brings up. Because usually it brings up another layer. So what is it that you think are your strengths? What is it you might like to go and train over time to get better and better at? Invest in. Invest your time, invest your energy. What are those things? Now maybe you want to draw a picture of your strengths just to help you kind of put it into what is it? What is it about me that's special? What is it that just I am good at? So we've got people saying running, yes. Quite often, sports are things that we're good at. When I was younger, I was very good at swimming. And it provided really, really good grounding for some of the work that I did later on. So use these things. If you're good at them, invest time and energy into them. Make them into something that you're really, really proud of. Now, the last part is around life story. To me, life story is really important. Now, what do I mean by this? It's about what's happened to you so far in your life. It's about accepting and using that as part of who you are. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today without the life story that I've had. There are so many parts of my life story that make me who I am today. And maybe one of the most important parts is actually around having children. I'm actually sat here with my 9-year-old daughter who's sat off to the side of me watching here. But my children are adopted. So my husband and I had real problems having children, quite an emotional time, and we went for adoption. We've got 2 beautiful, funny, adopted daughters. One that's about to turn 10 and one that's about to turn 7. And to me, this is like, it's a major part of our life. We went through quite a difficult part of our life. And now this is like, it will be with me. It will remain part of who I am, who my family is, how my family got made. And yet I recognize that by sharing what I went through, what we went through as a couple, what we go through as a family, actually enables other people to share. And this can be the same when, you've had a bad experience at school, something's happened to you and you overcome it. That builds you into who you are today. That helps you take courage into whatever else happens in your life. So just think about it. What effect does your life story have on who you are today? Now, these are not questions you can probably answer quickly, but just jot a couple of notes down. Maybe think of a colour which comes to mind when you think of your life story. Maybe some of the lessons you've learned from your life story to date. And also maybe this question around how your life story can help others. Why are you proud of your life story? Why is your life story special? And probably a lot of you are saying, well, it's not really, it's normal. There is no such thing as normal. We all have something about our life story that's special, that's different. And yet sometimes we don't always see it straight away. So just have a think, just play a bit. See what you come up with. So as we move forward, what are the opportunities that maybe you have when you proudly own these different parts of who you are and combine their unique powers? Your personal strengths, your personal values, and your life story. Bringing them all back together as to, actually, how does that look like for me? What's important about that for me? Which of those areas do I want to go and understand in a bit more detail? So, as I said at the start, my vision is around a world where everyone can stand up and engage in discussion about what matters most. Have the courage to stand up and say what you're proud of. Now, there was a question earlier about how you do that. And it is about understanding who you are. And by that, I mean who you are inside, not what it looks like outside, not, what color your hair is, what color your eyes are. It's about who you are. The deepest part of you, the part of you that really matters. The part of you that knows what it is. What's important to you? What is it that you're good at? And what does your life story bring to you today? And being courageous enough to be a little bit vulnerable, try to share more. And hence, My action or my pledge to you is to listen to what unfolds in you. This is a whistle-stop tour, and I'm sorry it's so fast. We didn't have loads of time. And I hope it kind of excites you to go and have a look and to listen to yourself. Maybe diary or draw some pictures to help you understand this. Take the worksheets away and talk about with other people. So commit to sharing what you've learned from this session about yourself and help others to make the world a better place. And my call for world leaders is to start listening. Start listening to people around you. Start listening to society and actively engaging with all parts of society. It's not about the colour of our skin. It's not about where we were born. And it is about listening to everybody, no matter how uncomfortable it is. We can only co-create the future together by including the younger generations. And by listening to each other, by standing up and saying what's important to us. So together, we can build a more sustainable life on Earth. So I'm just coming back to the chat to see if there's any other questions that we had. Is there anything anyone's got? I know we're just running out of time, so I'm going to wrap up. But is there anything that anyone would like to ask about this session and about finding your superpower? Okay. Well, I would love to hear how people found this, and please use the site to give feedback and ask questions. There are lots of questions I'd write. So questions coming in about what would you recommend writing in journals? Lots of questions, and maybe I can just take that question and use the ones that I've given you already in the worksheets. But I'm more than happy to take some questions that I journal around and I use with my coaching clients, just to help you kind of think about those points that we brought up today in a bit more detail. If that would be useful, I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, and with that, I'll hand back to the Steph and the administration team. Thank you so much and have a lovely afternoon. Take care.